Welcome to City Talk. I'm John McIntire. This is the program where we try to figure out what all those people in the city county building and the other city buildings do all day. Meet Richard Butler, who is with Human Resources here at the city county building. Richard, welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me, John.
So you are an HR manager and a manager of many things.
Yes, the official title is HR Manager for Training and Wellness Development.
How do you develop wellness?
That is a fun question. So basically I do wear two hats for the city of Pittsburgh, and when you look at the well-being and the wellness of the employees, that's the total package of the employee: mind, body, heart, soul. Along with that comes education, professional development. And so we really mixed the two: talent development, training development, professional development with the well-being, because we would like to really grow the whole employee.
So this involves fitness programs, or what kinds of things?
Great question.
Mental wellness as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Great question. So on the wellness side of things, I specifically manage our team of wellness gurus, who basically are like wellness coaches, as well as our wellness platform. Our wellness platform is just this robust online program where the employees can get what we call mojo points for going to the primary care doctor, maybe going to the gym, seeing our nutritionists. I don't know if everyone knows this, but the city of Pittsburgh, we have our own dietitian. And over 200 of our employees have lost over 2,000 pounds in over 2 years just working with his team. We have various online workout programs called Burn Along all of these things are free to the employees. So that's the wellness side.
Gotcha.
As well as just making sure that we're doing preventative care. It's really important that our employees are able to perform their jobs. And our wellness initiatives actually go beyond employees. We also look at the whole family, so dependents, partners, spouses are also part of our purview.
And then the other hat that you wear.
The other hat is the other fun hat. That is our training and development for all employees. Some of our trainings here at the City of Pittsburgh are mandatory based on maybe fair hiring or discrimination. Other things, it's just growing the employee with what we call power skills. Power skills are what you used to call soft skills, but we're going to make that a little stronger and call it power skills. And so maybe it's communicating, maybe it's getting some leadership skills, supervisory skills, but we also train employees to our policies and our legislation.
Right, and you give seminars to the employees if they feel they're being mistreated, treated poorly, unfairly passed over for promotion. You tell them how to go about registering a complaint.
Right, we give them the chain of command as necessary in our workshops. One of the things to prevent employees sometimes from making a complaint, right or wrong, is that they don't know what their chain of command is. And so we try to make sure that we communicate with them, that HR will help you get through those steps. We also have lunch and learns. So we have what we call City Fit. City Fit is part of our wellness platform, and so we do a lot of mindful workshops and even financial wellness workshops. And then we have City U, and City U is more of our educational platform. Presently we have what is called the Leadership Academy, and with the Leadership Academy we are presently at first Tuesday and third Tuesday of each month, we actually sit and watch a TED Talk on some type of leadership, and from that I help facilitate a conversation around that. It's been very populated, pretty cool.
You've got a long and varied background, and you didn't necessarily get into this because you had a big background in human resources. Your background was in athletics and athleticism.
Yes, my background, I believe 37 years I've been in the fitness industry. I still dabble a little bit in the fitness industry. I say I'm retired, but I tend to teach a couple of group exercise classes outside of here. I also have a background, my master's is in organizational leadership, and I tie those two in, as I like to say, and you've heard me say this before, I don't come to a job. I get to be in the city county building and I get to be me. Using my years of experience in both running organizations as well as I'm a part-time professor, and so the leadership part comes in. I teach in the School of Organizational Leadership, and it was real easy to go, what can we do for the employees? How about a leadership academy? And so that's how that all came about.
And you were born and raised Pittsburgher, and I was kidding you before we went on. How did you manage to avoid the Yinzer accent?
Yeah, born and raised Pittsburgher, Homewood to be exact. As a young person, I had what could have possibly been a learning disability, and so I could not speak very clearly, and people actually could not understand me. And as I pursued life, I decided to go to school for communications, mass media, matter of fact, radio and television. And during that time, I was able to really hone in on my speaking properly, because I was very self-conscious of not being able to speak at all. And so my voice and diction classes and all those various communication classes really helped me drop my yinzers. Nothing wrong with it.
No, of course not.
Drop my yins.
Did you imagine that you'd be such an accomplished public speaker back then when you were just, trying to learn?
Not at all. But it's a joy to be able to be in front of people, and I have aspirations to one day do not just a Pittsburgh TED Talk, but to do an actual global TED Talk. So,
what will that be about?
Not sure yet.
Okay, fair enough.
As soon as I figure that out, I'll let them know.
Don't tell me, I might steal the idea, or somebody else might steal the idea. And so how long have you been working for the city?
So I've been with the city now for 2.5 years.
And how do you find your fellow city workers, generally speaking?
Because we do the fun stuff in my area with the employees, and employees always look forward to seeing us. We are front-facing, not only just in HR, but because the gurus and myself go out into the field and visit the fire stations, the police stations, the academies, and so we are bringing them like Christmas every day. So they like to see us, we like to see them grow. I found that our employees really like to learn. Our lunch and learns are always very populated regardless of the topic. We even have people who subscribe to our lunch and learns so that they could get a seat at the table.
And you find most of them to be dedicated professionals as opposed to lazy bureaucrats.
Yeah, when I got here, people would say, well, why would you work for a municipality? And that's a fixed mindset versus I come from a place of growth mindset, and I believe that the employees want to grow as soon as we help give them the direction on how to do it. And they do. I tell people all the time, we have people from crossing guards to attorneys to engineers, production crew. We have everything in between on each side of that, and it's just a great slice of America pie to come here and work every day.
So you recommend a career in city government to whoever
I
might
recommend
be
a career in city government, but with a wink and a nod, I'm going to say HR even more.
Okay.
I was blown away by the many functions of HR because I've never worked in HR before. And even the fact that I'm at Robert Morris and there's a degree in HR, I really didn't understand why you needed a degree in HR. But I absolutely am really proud of the people that I work with in HR because they have earned their certifications, their degrees, and they really are passionate about serving the employees.
Well, since you are all about wellness, I'll elbow bump you.
I appreciate
thank
that.
You.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Fun.
Richard Butler, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us.
Hello, my name is Laura Dragowski from the Mayor's Office, and I'm here to tell you about BigBurg.com. We know lots of folks in our area are going through hard times, especially those experiencing homelessness. Let us show you how to get help. BigBurg.com is a web app that lists free, easy-to-use services in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. Introducing BigBurg.com. You can get to it from any browser, like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, or Safari, on your smartphone, computer, or tablet. No downloads necessary. Here is BigBurg's opening page. You can make a For You selection to tailor results to match your gender identity or expression, age, veteran, immigrant, or family status. Not sure which selection to make? Choose All Services to see all listings. Here are some free resources you can find on BigBurg. Overnight shelters, places to go during the day to get out of bad weather, grab a meal, or get groceries and pet food. BigBurg will even help you with your job search, medical care, eye care, foot care, and STD clinics, free clothing, toiletries, and household supplies, places to take a shower and wash your clothes, and much more. All services are listed based on your location, so you'll see what's closest to you first, and you can change your location here. Need help right away? Call 911 in case of emergency. But you can check out the Safe Places and Hotlines button for the domestic violence and sexual assault hotlines, LGBTQIA safe places, needle exchange locations, veterans hotlines, and mental health crisis drop-in centers. If you find yourself on the street and in need of help, emergency shelter, medical assistance, a snack or a coat, or even just someone to talk to, press the Live Help button and then use Email Street Help to contact street outreach workers from places like 211, who will come to you wherever you are in Allegheny County. They can get back to you Monday through Saturday between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Or you can call the 211 United Way helpline 24/7. Bigburg is completely anonymous. Even though a lot of different people use Bigburg, from caseworkers to police officers to community members, no personal information is recorded about the people accessing the site.
Bigburg.com helped me through my struggle, especially when I needed a place to stay at night, when I needed to find a meal during the day or during the night. When I finally got my place, Bigburg helped me find pantries during the day. When I needed to do my laundry, I was able to use Bigburg and the map to do laundry downtown. Bigburg is extremely beneficial. I highly encourage anybody who's going through a hard time to use it.
Want to share some information about a service or your experience using Bigburg.com? Hit the feedback button at the bottom of any listing to send us a message. Get the help you need with Bigburg.com.
Meet one of the hardest working men in show business, John Tokarski of the Department of Public Safety. John, welcome to the program.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the invitation to be here.
All right, the Department of Public Safety is a really wide-ranging and all-encompassing sort of thing. What all do they do, and what do you do for them?
It's very broad. The Department of Public Safety is more than what most citizens realize it is. It covers various bureaus. Most familiar are the police, but also encompasses the fire, EMS, animal care and control, park rangers, special events. It oversees Homeland Security and emergency management.
So not much responsibility.
It's very responsible,
Yes,
as we're all witnessing right now.
Right, isn't it the truth? And so is your job pretty much to let everybody know all these things that they do and surprisingly engage the community, because they also are out, the members of the Public Safety Department, engaging in the community more than people realize.
Exactly. My title's Safer Together Pittsburgh Coordinator. And what that really entails is going out into the communities and talking to the various populations. It could be neighborhood groups, it could just be neighbors in the streets, it could be churches, schools, nonprofit organizations, explaining and informing and educating them what the various bureaus do, and giving them the opportunity to get educated in person by having the bureaus come in, their various divisions. For instance, the police have a variety of divisions. They don't realize it. There's SWAT, motorcycle, K-9, ones that people don't realize until they see it on the news. So we give them the opportunity to come out, and this is real important, especially for children and youth, because that's usually where the relationships begin with public safety officials. So once we can get children and youth comfortable and familiar with who these people are and what they do, the better chance they are to accepting and realizing them, and also open up career opportunities.
And you also go out and listen to people in the communities, many of whom might have complaints.
Exactly. I can field and I can help address those complaints or issues. I look at them as issues. They're never complaints. They're issues with public safety. Lots of times it's just a matter of misinformation. They don't realize what's supposed to do or how to do it. A lot of times it's just starting them off on the right foot, helping them explain if they have an issue. Make sure if it's an ongoing issue, they file their complaint with 311 so they can track it. 311,
the non-emergency.
Service center number. Mm-hmm. Or if it's an emergency, immediately 911. And if they don't do that, then we don't realize there's an issue. We have to be aware that there's a problem going on for us to address it and provide resources to fix it.
So do you enjoy being out there in the community, or is it rough sometimes because not everybody's happy about everything?
I definitely love it. I love the people I work with in the various neighborhoods. They're all so different. They all care about the neighborhood. They all want to make their neighborhood better, which collectively makes Pittsburgh a better place to live and a safer place to live. There's always challenges, but there's challenges in every job. And like I said, I often find those challenges to be rewarding because you can usually make friends and get buy-in as how the process works. It's just a matter of having patience, helping to identify resources, and making sure you follow up.
And if people really want to know what it's like to be a police officer, both children and adults, there are classes that you guys provide.
Yeah, we offer wonderful opportunities twice a year. We have the Citizens Police Academy, which is a 15-week course in which they get to experience all the aspects of what cadets go through in the police academy. So we talk about the basics of the history of policing and the city police. We go over criminal law, and then they're exposed and get to interact with all the various divisions of the Bureau. For youth, high school youth, grades 9 through 12, we offer the same type of situation, but it's much shorter. It's 10 weeks because the youth in high schools, they're involved with a regular class schedule, extracurricular activities. Like, for instance, last night we kicked off our current Student Police Academy. And we had 42 students register from across the city and the county, representing 25 different high schools. And it was just a wonderful turnout. A lot of these youth, they don't know each other. They don't know each other's cultures. So you get kids from same neighborhoods living next door to each other, not realizing who they are. And at the same time, you have youth from suburban, private, parochial schools meeting kids from public schools. And it's a great mix, and the officers engage them really well. You know, one of the things we've talked with the students about is when you're completed this 10 weeks, you're not only going to know police officers as people, but they're going to get to know you as people as well.
And you know a thing or two about being a police officer, because not only are you around them every day these days, was it your dad who was a lifelong police officer?
Yeah, my father was a police officer for 38 years, spending 36 of them in Zone 5. And I looked up to him. I thought, I don't want to use the word hero, but I noticed how people really looked at him as something special. And I often want to emulate that, but we had a rule in our house. None of the kids could be policemen or firemen because of the danger of the job. So I guess the job that I'm currently doing and have the opportunity to engage with police and fire, EMS, and the various divisions and bureaus is the best next thing to be doing.
Did anybody ever try to talk your dad out of that role?
Oh, no. My dad, you didn't talk my dad out of anything.
When he made a rule, it was a rule.
It was a rule, exactly.
That was the law.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so you also used to work as far back as the Murphy administration with a federal program that helped do something locally. Tell us about that.
Back when I worked with Mayor Murphy's office, I worked for him for 12 years and Mayor O'Connor for 6 months. I was a special projects manager for a Justice Department initiative called Operation Weed and Seed.
Weed and seed.
Yeah, no drugs. At least
understand.
not the weed you're thinking.
Right.
But it was drugs. It was what we did is we'd go into communities that had been identified as being in distress, but they're savable. And what we do is we'd go in there with grants from the federal government Justice Department, and we would supplant the crime with opportunities for economic development, education, programming, beautification of the neighborhoods, but at the same time we'd go in and weed out the bad players. And the bad players are usually dealing in massive distribution of drugs, guns, weapons, and gangs. We did extremely well.
The program was a success.
Extreme success. And I'm not saying that the Justice Department said we had the best, if not one of the best, weed and seed programs in the entire country. And that was over 300 sites across the country.
And you've got some other stuff on your resume, including radio and television, and including running a nightclub at one point.
Yeah, I ran a nightclub at one point, which helped give me tolerance to deal with some of the issues I deal with today. I worked in both.
How's that work?
The tolerance?
Yeah.
Well, when people don't want to see it your way or don't want to understand,
I see.
and sometimes they're inebriated, you have to say, okay, well, let me call you back on Monday. We'll talk about that. But I worked in communications. I worked for the Sheridan Broadcasting Network and Network News, and I also worked as a writer for the Pittsburgh Business Times.
Awesome. How do you like working in government? I mean, you must like it somewhat because you've been doing it for a while.
I'm one of those people that really take the term service. Public service.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as a great opportunity to serve people, to be able to serve my neighbors, serve other people in Pittsburgh. So I don't take my job lightly. I take it very seriously, and I'm always looking at ways I can improve my service to the people as well as improve the service of public safety.
Do you think people look at the city government employees as people committing a public service, or do they sometimes fall back on the stereotype of less than flattering
I
description?
think just like we do with everything, people tend to see the media publicizing those bad apples, whether it's a government employee, a police officer, a lawyer, a doctor. There's always some people who, but the most part, most of the people I work with in this city, and especially in the Public Safety Bureau, are hard-working, dedicated people who I often look at and see how they sacrifice sometimes their own personal time in order to balance out their families, what's going on in their life, and their service to the people in the city.
So you'd recommend a career in city government?
Absolutely, because over the years, public safety has gone from being a simple prompt, put out the fire, arrest the guy. It's not like that. It's much more helping people immediately at the scene, helping people with resources, sometimes just simply taking young people under their wing and giving them some mentorship, some direction. Like I said, if not become actually an employee in public safety, but to at least give them some guidance in their future on what they could do and what they couldn't do, and also to keep them on the right road.
Does anybody still ever call anybody to get a cat out of a tree, or is that just something I used to see in old movies?
That's
never
just
really
old
happened?
movies. But I'll tell you what, I think if they did it, they'd go out and do it. If someone called, they wouldn't go out and do it. Because, I mean, we've had situations where we've seen police officers and firefighters literally save baby ducklings and that out of grates. I mean, like I said, the men and women who serve our public safety bureaus are amazing. There's nothing they won't or can't do. And especially when it comes to animals, we have like Master Officer Christine Luffy.
Yeah, we've interviewed her. She's
who
great.
Always does things for dogs and animals. We have these officers who work every year on the Kids and Cops and Kids Camp, which is 3 different weeks during the summer, where it's a week-long camp for children, no charge, and they get to engage and interact with police officers in a way they wouldn't. You know, what else is interesting is people don't realize too is part of the police bureau is our school crossing guards.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
School crossing guards are usually the very first person that a child will engage on a positive note.
Right.
You stop and think of a child's 10 years old, something happens at home, it's a fire, it's a heart attack, maybe it's an arrest of a parent or a family member, it's negative. But school crossing guards always have friendly face to make sure they get to school okay, and so they're also a very important part of the Bureau.
And that could be a dangerous job, I mean, with these
Absolutely.
crazy drivers around.
With the crazy drivers, with the fact that there's only so much they can do, though they can contact the police if something really outlandish happens, but it's putting themselves out there in the public just like our officers do, at the service of other people, possibly offering their own life.
I always enjoy talking to somebody who enjoys their job. You seem to really enjoy your work.
I do. I truly do. It's interesting because people often told me, John, you could have made so much money if you stayed in the private sector, but this is what I chose to do, and I'm quite happy I did.
And how are you going to play a role in saving a baby duckling in the private sector?
You can save it and then cook it up for dinner.
That's the spirit. All right, John Tokarski, thank you so much.
Thanks so much
for being here.
Appreciate it so much.
Can't be too careful these
I know,
days.
6 feet.
We'll be back with another guest on City Talk in just a moment.
Hello, my name is Erica Strasburger, and I'm from Pittsburgh City Council District 8. I want the best for my son Evan and all of the kids in Allegheny County. That's why I am signing up for Fund My Future. By simply depositing $1 or more every month, parents are encouraged to save money to help make their child's dreams after high school come true. Just about any savings vehicle is eligible. I'm starting a PA 529 savings plan for my son. Enrolling in Fund My Future is as easy as 1. Enroll in Fund My Future at fundmyfuturepgh.org. 2. Establish a savings account for your child or an existing PA 529 savings plan or Keystone Scholars account. 3. Have fun making deposits. Call 412-440-YOU-WIN. That's 8946 for more details.
Welcome back to City Talk. Say hello to Sihan Mao, who is a data analyst in the Department of Innovation and Performance on the innovation team. That sounds like a fancy title, Sihan Mao.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for having me here.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
So where do you get the data? What kind of data is it? And why are you analyzing it?
So data we have is currently sitting in IMP department. It's like we have on
Innovation and Performance, also known as INP.
Yeah, sorry about the name.
That's all right.
Yeah, so the data comes from lots of software system. We're using like the Computronics and QLR system, and also like for like other departments, we use a lot of like software system. And our data analyst job is to gather this data and clean them and provide the data to other departments and the managers to analyze their business processes.
How well is their department working? How efficient are their employees being?
Yeah, especially that. So we work a lot with performance improvement coach. to help other departments and also our like people here in innovation and performance department to see where we can do better and something like that.
So part of your job is to analyze what other people are doing, even if you've never done it, and see if you can figure out how to help them do it better. Now, do they always welcome that, or is it like, why are you telling me what to do? You've never done what I do.
That's a great question. I mean, like, so it's really important for us, especially the data analysts, to go into the field to talk to the people who are actually doing the work, especially like for the data from Domain Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. Like, there's a lot of like procedures and rules we don't understand, and data, like the data we have, like they have some like figures or numbers that are confusing. We have to go to their department and talk to them.
So you have to really almost become experts on what they do before you can advise them.
Well,
sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I'm trying to be like, and like for a pothole crew, like for people that are like filling the potholes, we have to go with them to like see their work and to see what like obstacles they have, like what the data can help them. So it's really important to link the data to the work we're doing. So it's really important for us to know what happened.
That makes sense. You were part of the team as an intern that developed the smart garbage can, which allows workers, instead of go checking to see if they're full all the time and wasting some trips, to just find out through a sensor that, oh, it's full, let's go empty this garbage can.
Yeah, that's a project, that's my first internship project, and but like we already have like a lot of smart garbage cans getting around in the city, but the problem is we need a routing algorithm to calculate what's the best route for
a routing
the crew.
Algorithm.
Yeah, for the crew to collect all this trash. And the problem they have is like, so they don't have that much space on their truck to like collect this trash. So sometimes they just go along the street and collect the trash where they are.
Right.
So sometimes they don't really need this like smart trash can intelligence from the website. So it's our job to link this capacity the smart trash can provide us, and also their requests and needs in the real life work.
You're helping to make sure they do their job more efficiently.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're originally from Beijing, China.
Yeah.
You grew up there, got your undergrad degree there, and then came here to go to the University of Chicago.
Yeah. So I spent the last 2 years in Chicago for the Master of Public Policy. I studied some urban policy and also the spatial data science. So that's very relevant with the work I'm doing here in the city.
And you were telling me before we went on the air that they teach you English, or they taught you English at any rate. Your teachers in China from a very early age, like starting at kindergarten level.
Yeah. So like English as the class is compulsory for every student in China since kindergarten and primary school, and they're also very important for your entrance examination for college. So you have to be really good at it. Yeah.
But you were also telling me that even though you understood the words, it was kind of different when you first came over here in terms of understanding what people meant.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, the conversation is really different with textbook English. Like the first time I greet people in Chicago, like I would say like hello, but people would say, how are you doing? I wonder, maybe they're just curious about what I'm doing right now. So I just
So if I said, how are you doing? You might say, I'm typing at a computer. Why are you asking?
Yeah.
Instead of I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's kind of like cultural difference I first learned here. It's very interesting, and that's the fun part. Yeah.
So what is the best thing and the worst thing about America for you so far?
I would say the bad thing here is Netflix.
Netflix is the best thing about America.
Yeah. It's lots of series and film there. I love Narcos, and it's great. I mean, But the worst thing is, Chinese food.
The Chinese food is too American in America?
Yeah, it's a little bit American. Yeah.
And does that mean what's wrong with it?
I mean, we can just sometimes the flavor is too strong. Like some dishes back in China is not that with a lot of oil or fried or something like that. Yeah.
So do you think, I wonder how the Americanized version of Chinese food became so Americanized, you know what I mean? Maybe they're just appealing to the tastes here as opposed to the tastes there, I don't know.
Yeah, that's my question too. Myself, when I cook, I I would love the dish to be more natural with less salt or spicy or like that. That's what I like. But here is kind of like the opposite.
But there's a couple of decent places, you don't have to name them, but in Squirrel Hill, right? You'd at least find a couple that are okay?
Yeah, like there are 2 or 3 restaurants in Squirrel Hill. It's pretty good. I mean, the Everyday Noodles and Taiwan Bistros.
Okay.
They're pretty good, yeah.
So now you've got a possibility where you may have to go back to China whether you like it or not.
Yeah. So I have to like go through a lottery for working visa in April. So there's a cap for international students to work here. So like, but there are a lot more applicants to want to get it. So we have to do a lottery. So that's kind of a 50-50.
It's all luck of the draw.
Yeah.
There's nothing, even if you know somebody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like computer programmed thing to win this.
So are you nervous about that? I mean, that's sort of crazy.
Well, I'm really, honestly, I'm not, because I love the work I'm doing right now, and it's already awesome to spend a year here. I mean, everybody in the city is great, and we have like cutting edge technology that I can use and to practice in the city services. But I mean, that's life. So I really welcome uncertainty in my life. Yeah.
And you spent a couple of years in Chicago, obviously a bigger city. How do you find, how do you like Pittsburgh?
Well, Pittsburgh is amazing, especially for the mountains, because Chicago is really a flat plain. Yeah, and we have 3 rivers and great sceneries and great music, lots of sports team like Steelers and and yeah, the food other than Chinese food is pretty good.
And you also told me that you're really a soccer guy when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
But if there was a sports team you wanted to get into here, it would probably be the Steelers as opposed to baseball, hockey, or anything else.
Yeah, it's like the most similar sport here, like in Pittsburgh, comparing with soccer.
But one thing I was shocked that you mentioned to me is that they frown on you playing sports too much in China, because for some reason they actually value studies more than sports.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
unthinkable to an American.
Yeah, that's right. I really love sports, but the parents back in China, they emphasize study other than anything. So like I got criticized in high school, in primary school, and college because I play a lot of soccer. But I think this is a really important part of life, and I really appreciate the kind of the sporting culture here in America. Like everybody in high school or college, everybody is crazy about sports. So it's really a great atmosphere I didn't enjoy back in my undergrad in Beijing. So yeah.
Cool. How do you find your fellow workers here in the city of Pittsburgh?
Everybody's awesome. So they're really helpful when I first got in here to tell me what's going on in the city, what we were doing, and everybody's really dedicated to their work and spend a lot of time really thinking about where we can improve, how we can do better, to better serve the residents here in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
So you'd recommend a career in government?
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah.
My final question is, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay,
Thanks,
good.
John.
You learned something. Elbow bump to you.
Yeah.
Sihan, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
That's it for this edition of City Talk. We will see you next time.